Almost as important as drawing inside of Illustrator is getting around inside of Illustrator. Now, navigating within your document can be done in one of several ways, but the main tools that you'll use are these down here: the hand grabber tool or the hand tool and the zoom tool. Now, the thing though is that it doesn't really ever pay to use the tools themselves, because we'll learn that there are keyboard shortcuts that allow us to access those tools very easily in any situation. For example, right now I have the selection tool selected, and if I decided that I wanted to go ahead and zoom in on the word Hawaii right here, I could simply go to the view menu and choose zoom in, but then I'd have to do that several times if I wanted to get really close to that, and well, that's not really that intuitive. So I'm going to use the keyboard shortcut actually to go back, Command minus or Control minus on Windows, and what I can do is I could access my magnifying glass tool. I'm going to press down my space bar and then also my Command key, and again, if you're on Windows, you'll hold down your space bar and your Control key. And now you'll see my tool turns to the magnifying glass with a little plus sign inside of it, which means zoom in or get closer to my object. Now I still have those two keys held down on my keyboard. I don't want to release them yet. I'm going to click and drag to what we call a marquee, or draw an area around where I want to zoom in on. And now when I release the mouse, I can now release the keys on my keyboard as well. I now have zoomed in on that specific area of my document. Now, let's say I wanted to deal with that word surf. Well, do I have to zoom out and then zoom back in again? So the answer is no. I can basically use the hand tool to move the artwork. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to hold down the space bar alone, just the space bar. Notice now my cursor changes to the hand tool. And what I can do is I can simply click and then drag upwards. And that will now move that part of the screen up higher. Now it's important to realize what I'm doing right now is I'm not moving the artwork itself. I'm moving the entire canvas. So imagine you have a really, really small desk to work on, but you have this huge piece of paper. And you want to be able to basically work on different parts of the paper. So what you'll do is you'll take your hand and you'll kind of move the paper and shove the paper around over the desk so that you can work on individual parts of it. So the artwork stays obviously in the same place as it does on the overall canvas or a large sheet of paper. But what you're simply doing is you're making it possible that you can focus on or view one part of that by moving the entire paper around. So you could also, by the way, reverse that zoom. I'm going to hold down the space bar, then the Command key, and then the Option key. And I'm on Mac. If you're on PC, that'll be the space bar, the Control key, and then the Alt key. Notice now I still get the magnifying glass, but now, instead of a plus sign, it's got a minus sign inside of it. And now when I click, it actually zooms out. So now I have the ability to use the space bar to kind of move my artboard around. And notice, by the way, here you can see that I'm moving the artwork because the whole artboard is moving as well. And I could also hold down the Command and the space bar, or the Control and the space bar, to access my zoom tool to zoom in and out. There's one other important thing which is good to know, especially now with CS4 and the new user interface that's been added, is you'll notice that I now have something called tabbed panels. Tab basically allows me to have more than one document open and be able to access those documents far more easily. For example, let's open up another file. I'm going to go to the Help menu here and choose Welcome Screen. And let's open up that multiple artboards file that I had opened before. Notice now that I don't get a separate window. Because I have the application frame turned on, I now have two documents that can very easily switch back and forth between this control panel document here and this multiple artboards file here as well. In fact, the keyboard shortcut that I could use is Command tilde or Control tilde. The tilde key, by the way, is a little squiggly key that appears right on top of the tab key on the upper left portion of your keyboard. So go ahead and hit the Command tilde key and see how you can quickly toggle or move between two different documents. What's great about working with these tabbed layouts also is that Illustrator now has, if you go over here to the application bar itself, is a button called Arrange Documents. And if I click on that, I see that I can choose between other layouts. For example, if I choose 2 up over here, I can see that both documents can be open and visible at the same time. And I have one tab here and one tab here, almost as if they were like in separate windows. And they kind of got split in half here. My one big document window is split between 2 of them, and I can click on this one and move it around, and I can click on this document and then move this one around as well. This is great for when you want to compare documents, or even sometimes when you're working inside of the same document. For example, let's say this is a pretty complex file right here. What I could do is go to the Window menu and choose New Window. I now have 2 tabs here. The New Window command basically is the exact same document, but allows me to see it through a separate window. And in this one, I could choose, for example, to turn off my preview mode. I'll go to the View mode and choose to view my artwork in outline mode. So now what I'll do is I'll go to the N up over here, this setting over here, and choose to view, let's say, documents this way. So now I have this document which I'm viewing in full color, but this is what it looks like when it's in outline mode. And the beautiful thing is that they're not separate documents. So for example, if I make a change, I select this text and I move this text around, you'll notice that that moves in both of these windows that are here. So finally, it is possible for you to rearrange these on your own simply by positioning your cursor in between these little bars here and adjust how that looks. So here's a way that you can very easily work with the layouts that are here inside of Illustrator. In fact, if you want to go even a step further, you could simply grab any tab, drag it out, and either turn it into its own floating window, or simply drag it into another tab itself, and then that becomes a tab. So here I can manually combine all three tabs back now into one document window in that way.